Presbycusis, also spelled Presbyacusis, from Greek presbys old plus acousis hearing, or age-related hearing loss, is the cumulative effect of aging on hearing. It is a progressive and irreversible bilateral symmetrical age-related sensorineural hearing loss resulting from degeneration of the cochlea or associated structures of the inner ear or auditory nerves. The hearing loss is most marked at higher frequencies. Hearing loss that accumulates with age but is caused by factors other than normal aging, nosacusis and sosacusis, is not presbycusis, although differentiating the individual effects of distinct causes of hearing loss can be difficult. The cause of presbycusis is a combination of genetics, cumulative environmental exposures and pathophysiological changes related to aging. At present there are no preventative measures known. Treatment is by hearing aid or surgical implant. Presbycusis is the most common cause of hearing loss, afflicting 1 out of 3 persons by age 65, and 1 out of 2 by age 75. Presbycusis is the second most common illness next to arthritis in aged people. The aging process has 3 distinct components: physiologic degeneration, extrinsic damage, nosacusis, and intrinsic damage, sosacusis. These factors are superimposed on a genetic substrate, and may be overshadowed by general age-related susceptibility to diseases and disorders. Hearing loss is only weakly correlated with age. In pre-industrial and non-industrial societies, persons retain their hearing into old age. Citation needed: in the Framingham cohort study, only 10% of the variability of hearing with age could be explained by age-related physiologic deterioration. Within family groups, heredity factors were dominant. Across family groups, other, presumably sosacusis and nosacusis factors were dominant. Heredity factors like early aging of the cochlea and susceptibility of the cochlea for drug insults are genetically determined. Oxidative stress. General inflammatory conditions. Primary symptoms: sounds or speech becoming dull, muffled or attenuated. Need for increased volume on television, radio, music and other audio sources. Difficulty using the telephone. Loss of directionality of sound. Difficulty understanding speech, especially women and children. Difficulty in speech discrimination against background noise, cocktail party effect. Secondary symptoms: hyperacusis, heightened sensitivity to certain volumes and frequencies of sound, resulting from recruitment. Tinnitus, ringing, buzzing, hissing or other sounds in the ear when no external sound is present. Vertigo and disequilibrium. Usually occurs after age 50, but deterioration in hearing has been found to start very early, from about the age of 18 years. The ISO standard 7029 shows expected threshold changes due purely to age for carefully screened populations, that is excluding those with ear disease, noise exposure etc., based on a meta-analysis of published data. 2-3, age affects high frequencies more than low, and men more than women. One early consequence is that even young adults may lose the ability to hear very high-frequency tones above 15 or 16 kHz. 4. Despite this, age-related hearing loss may only become noticeable later in life. The effects of age can be exacerbated by exposure to environmental noise, whether at work or in leisure time, shooting, music, etc. This is noise-induced hearing loss, NIHL, and is distinct from presbycusis. A second exacerbating factor is exposure to ototoxic drugs and chemicals. Over time, the detection of high-pitched sounds becomes more difficult, and speech perception is affected, particularly of sibilants and fricatives. Both ears tend to be affected. The impact of presbycusis on communication depends on both the severity of the condition and the communication part. Diagnosis. Hearing loss is classified as mild, moderate, severe or profound. Pure tone audiometry for ear conduction thresholds at 500, 1000 and 2000 Hz is traditionally used to classify the degree of hearing loss in each ear. Normal hearing thresholds are considered to be 25 decibels sensitivity, though it has been proposed that this threshold is too high, and that 15 decibels, about half as allowed, is more typical. Mild hearing loss is thresholds of 25 to 45 decibels, moderate hearing loss is thresholds of 45 to 65 decibels, severe hearing loss is thresholds of 65 to 85 decibels, and profound hearing loss thresholds are greater than 85 decibels. Tinnitus occurring in only one ear should prompt the clinician to initiate further evaluation for other etiologies. In addition, the presence of a pulse-synchronous rushing sound may require additional imaging to exclude vascular disorders. Pathophysiology. Examples of microscopic changes seen in this condition are hair cell degeneration of the cochlea and giant stereociliary degeneration. There are 4 pathological phenotypes of presbycusis. Sensory, characterized by degeneration of the organ of Corti. Neural, characterized by degeneration of cells of the spiral ganglion. Strial/metabolic, characterized by atrophy of striovascularies in all turns of cochlea. Cochlear conductive, due to stiffening of the basilar membrane, thus affecting its movement. This type of pathology has not been verified as contributing to presbycusis. In addition, there are 2 other types. Mixed. Indeterminate. The shape of the audiogram categorizes abrupt high-frequency loss, sensory phenotype, or flat loss, strial phenotype. The mainstay of SNHL is strial, with only about 5% of cases being sensory dubious. Discuss. This type of presbycusis is manifested by a low-frequency hearing loss, with unimpaired speech recognition. Classically, audiograms in neural presbycusis show a moderate downward slope into higher frequencies with a gradual worsening over time. A severe loss in speech discrimination is often described, out of proportion to the threshold loss, making amplification difficult due to poor comprehension. The audiogram associated with sensory presbycusis is thought to show a sharply sloping high-frequency loss extending beyond the speech frequency range, and clinical evaluation reveals a slow, symmetric, and bilateral progression of hearing loss. Medicine by Alexandros G. Sfakianakis, Anapaphysios 5 Agios Nikolaos 72100 Crete, Greece, 003069326071740, 003028410261882, alsfakia@gmail.com.